Hi everybody, I am Danny Otto. Welcome into That Recap Show, where we discuss our favorite movies, TV shows, and characters all in one place. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier. More specifically, episode 3 of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
So, episode 3 of Falcon and Winter Soldier that we just got it was titled The Power Broker, but I like to also call it Ocean's 15 because we had a very important scene to kick off the episode that felt very reminiscent of Ocean's 11.
You son of a I'm in.
I don't want to completely say that it was an Ocean's 11 inspired scene, but it was very close. So, Paul, do you want to give us just a quick recap of the episode? Just give us some bullet points from the episode.
Episode 3 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as you said, titled The Power Broker. So the episode starts out with Bucky revealing to Sam that he went ahead and just broke Zemo out of prison, which was maybe just a tad bit hasty, but they're trying to track down the Flag Smashers who have apparently stolen these vials of superhero serum. And they need Zemo in order to track down any leads that they can because they know that he wants to wipe out the superhero serum as much as they want to get their hands on it. So they use his contacts to go to Madripoor in order to talk to this criminal who I think they named Selby. And she tells him, or tells the group about the power broker, who is this mysterious entity who hired a former Hydra scientist named Dr. Wilfred Nagel, who actually was able to recreate the superhero serum. And so Sam winds up getting a call from his sister, Sarah, during this meeting with these criminals and winds up blowing their cover. They're able to escape because Sharon Carter comes out of the blue and is able to rescue them while at the same time being like, what the hell are you doing with Baron Zemo? They wind up telling her about this superhero serum that this Dr. Nagel created, and she's able to take them to find him. He tells them that there's 20 vials out there that were all stolen by the Flag Smashers and that the power broker is trying to get back. At that point, Zemo goes ahead and shoots this Dr. Nagel dead, so there's no more superhero serum coming to the MCU, at least for the time being. They were able to make their escape. Zemo is still with them, and Bucky and Sam promise Sharon that they're going to get her a pardon. But as they drive away, we cut to the new Steve and new Sam, whoever you want to call him, John Walker, whatever, and they're picking up on the fact that Bucky and Sam broke Zemo out of prison, and they're saying we are hot on their tail and we were going after him. So Danny, I'm curious, were there any moments in episode 3 that really stuck out to you?
Actually, there's a lot. I really liked this episode. I think we packed, some would argue that there was too much packed into this episode, but I do think it's a lot for us to unpack and a lot for us to spend the week until next episode on kind of unpacking everything in it. And it kind of makes it more interesting because now we can kind of fall down rabbit holes for stuff. But you kind of glossed over it right away and didn't appreciate my joke very much, but I really did like the Ocean's 11 style of like the breakout. We didn't just get the action of the breakout. We got the, hey, this is what we should do, and then immediately goes into like, oh, this really happened already. I kind of really appreciated that. I liked the little nod to Ocean's 11 with that. I gotta say, I still really like the Sam and Bucky dynamic where they're like the buddy cop movie where they're always kind of bickering and arguing and stuff. And I even like Zemo's injection to all of that. Like it kind of, in some things you would get worried that maybe he would kind of mess with that dynamic, but he really doesn't. He adds to that dynamic, and now it kind of seems like a pretty interesting trio that I'm kind of hoping continues into the next episode. We find out Zemo's rich, which is a hilarious, like, oh, we don't have to worry about like, huffing it to places. We can take this private jet anywhere we want to go. That kind of makes things a little easier for everybody. There were a couple of funny scenes in heading to Majapur and stuff like that, where we got Sam dressing up as Smiling Tiger and little jokes here and there. Now, Paul, did you have any major questions heading into the next episode after this one wrapped?
I'm still very fuzzy on what exactly the end goal for the Flag Smashers is supposed to be about halfway through. We're also, the big mystery coming out of this episode, it's titled The Power Broker. And we're wondering who the power broker is. It could be any number of people. It could be a brand new character who we haven't been introduced to yet. It could be a former MCU character who we haven't seen in a while. It could be somebody that has already been introduced that we haven't really picked up on the fact that they are the power broker yet. There's big online rumors that it could be Sharon Carter, that it could be the new Captain America, John Walker. It could be a whole number of people. So while watching through WandaVision, I kind of played devil's advocate with a lot of people where when the sword director would kind of be kind of a douchebag, I'd be like, I'm kind of glad he's in the room, because if I was a hostage in that town, I want that guy who's like, yo, we should treat this as a threat and maybe take that side of things. And so I'm kind of having the same feeling with watching this show. And, at the end, we see John Walker and his partner, and they're talking about, oh yeah, we need to get the job done. We don't need to ask permission because we're going after Sam and Bucky, who have clearly broken out Zemo. And as they were talking about, I'm like, all of this logic seems to track according to the MCU standards, because Sam and Bucky, with no approval from anybody, just went ahead and broke Zemo out of prison. So the morality of all of that is very cloudy. And then there is a ton of questions to be had as far as Sharon Carter goes. What has she been up to for the last couple of years? Was she blipped out of existence? How did she build up this wealth that she seems to have? And, what has she been doing in the time since we've seen her? Because she's definitely a changed person. What do you think, though, Danny? Do you have any theories about any of the things I just threw out there, or, what could be happening in these final 3 episodes? Where do you think this is all heading?
Yes, bring me back in for the theories. We all know that I love to, read about, throw around rumors and theories for all of our favorite MCU properties. I was the one chanting that Mephisto was going to show up in every episode of WandaVision. I wanted it to be true. I wanted Quicksilver to actually be here and for that to be opening the floodgates for mutants. And I wanted all of these things to happen. So look, I'm trying to not go crazy in this show on theories. There is one that we already have touched on for another one of our minisodes. And that is that I think ultimately we're going to find out that we already know who the power broker is. He hasn't showed up in this particular series yet, but I still think that there is a chance that the power broker could be General Ross. And the only reason I say that is because we know General Ross is very interested in the super soldier serum. We know that the scientist was working on the serum before the blip, and that afterwards he went and restarted his work in a different area in shadier stuff, and that's when the power broker got involved. So I think power broker is just a shady way for General Ross to have continued this super soldier serum program under the radar, out of the way, out of the US, out of jurisdiction for anything. I think we're going to find out that he has something to do with it. I could be proven wrong, but I still think that is going to be something that leads down the MCU into other movies, TV shows, what have you. I still think General Ross is going to pop up, and I really think that we're going to get him. Other than that, I mean, I'm really interested to see kind of how Wakanda is going to get involved with. We left off at the very end of the episode where we got a warrior from Wakanda meeting up with Bucky. Like, I know they want Zemo. I get that. Like, everybody wants Zemo. Zemo is a horrible criminal in the MCU right now, and I know he needs to be captured. And so everybody, even Sharon Carter, who arguably isn't kind of like fighting on the good side anymore in her terms, like when we got her saying the whole superhero thing is a sham type of thing. But how is Wakanda going to get involved? Are we going to take a trip to Wakanda? Is that what we're going to get in the future? Like, are we going to get the trio heading to Wakanda next episode? What do you have as far as predictions for what could come in the next episode?
Let me just say that Danny, if you kissed a girl and then she went back in time to sleep with your uncle, you'd probably be a little miffed too. So I think Sharon is probably on okay ground. But beyond that, I think this next episode, it's going to be very heavy with this Bucky and his relationship to Wakanda that we saw very briefly after he was kind of taken away at the end of Civil War, and kind of how they worked on him to get him all fixed up. This next episode, we're going to dive a lot deeper into who exactly the Flag Smashers are trying to lead this all up to. What are their intentions for all these vials that they have stolen, and kind of what their long-term planning is, because I think we do need more on that villain front and kind of knowing where they're going to be going with that. And as far as Sam and Bucky, I think we're probably in for some more confrontation with John Walker and the government, alongside the fact that the Wakandan government is probably pretty miffed at them for breaking out Zemo. I think that we're going to see repercussions for that these next couple episodes, because Zemo is eventually going to be turning coat. We know that almost for a certainty. So that's kind of where I'm expecting this to go.
I kind of tend to agree with you. I really think, we're going to find out basically what the repercussions are from Wakanda. And I'm really looking forward to John Walker and his sidekick kind of catching up with Bucky and Sam, because I know there's going to be some sort of major confrontation with that. And what we've seen from the trailer, it's very possible that what we saw in the trailer with Sam and Bucky having the shield and whipping it around is going to be like a post-credit tease from now on in the MCU. Like, it's just like a nod off type of thing that, oh, now they have the shield, and it's still going to be like a tease of who ends up with it type of thing. It's very possible that we get that as the very end of episode 6 type of thing. But what I'd like to believe is there's going to be some major confrontation with John Walker and Sam and Bucky, and there's going to be this big clash, and maybe that's how they get the shield, and maybe that's a pivotal moment that Sam really says, like, hey, I need to do this, and we need the shield for help type of thing. And that's why we got that scene where he's practicing with it, because he needs to be able to use it. I really want to find out if the Flag Smashers really are this villain that they're kind of being set up to be, or if we already know that they're not completely pure in actions. We just saw in the episode where they blew up a building with people in it. So we know, look, they're not clean as far as their hands in this, but I do want to see if there is a bigger villain overall, or if we're going to be getting some sort of bigger thing overall. And you know what? I'm very interested to see if and when Zemo double crosses them, and what happens with all of that moving forward. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining me for this episode. And guys, don't forget, like, subscribe, and post some comments. What were your theories coming out of this episode? What are your thoughts moving forward? Let us know. We'll be happy to read them on the air for the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Good night.